Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to the Dark and Stormy Nights. This is Loki.
And this is Tyr.
And we're going to be plotting something today. We're
kind of working it out.
Yeah, we're going to be a little shifty here. So the one idea that I think you could make an entire chapter out of is Eliot, Lee, Shayla, their friends and everything like that. They're all out having a good time, right? They're trying to forget about all the worries that the Combine causes, especially seeing how now they know that Shayla is extra special, right? She can void magic. So, in that, they kind of got...
Yeah, so basically, I think that what we're at is Lee and Eliot are still at odds with the Sorcerer's Combine, right?
Yeah.
So, there's kind of that unwillingness to return home at the moment.
At the very least, what's the hurry? They kind of deserve some of this.
Right. And so I think that at this point right now, Eliot's priority, just because he's lacking direction and anything else, is the dragon.
Right.
And so we were talking about... Oh, and then we also need to remember that the last we saw of the Bodak that Lee was actively hunting for just a couple chapters ago was that it was injured.
Right.
In bringing the witches back and, in their retaliation to being brought back. And so at this point, the Bodak is hurt and probably needs to feed.
Sure.
So these two things come together in the sense that dragons, as we mentioned previously, are very magical. They have a ton of magic. And so if the Bodak is feeding, let's say, off of the magical beacon that has suddenly appeared in his city, would be drawing him in. So we're talking about having the Bodak stalking Lee and Eliot and Shayla as they're experiencing the city.
Well, and we can't forget, she absolutely cannot see it coming. Because if she sees it coming, she can anti-magic and he can't do shit.
She doesn't need to see it coming.
So I'm just saying there can be no shock, there can be no nothing. She has to have no idea she's about to be nabbed.
That's fine. I don't think that's necessarily an issue. I think that she feels somewhat safe with Lee and Eliot.
Right.
And the thing is that I think that we're talking about going two different directions with this. And so our thought is that they're out, they're hitting arcades, they're having pizza, they're showing her the sights, kind of thing.
Yeah, they're just having a good time together.
And this whole time, we show the Bodak starving, injured, stalking from the shadows. Right?
Yes.
And none of them notice.
Correct.
And maybe he's not even fully on this plane. Maybe he can slip between worlds. I don't really know much about the Bodak, but we know he can travel this way, right? He kind of slips.
He can slip into the world of the dead to travel that world and come out somewhere else. It's like teleport, but really,
right?
He's just going between worlds.
Right. So maybe he can stand somewhere like in the Vale and watch.
So you can stand in the place where you were. No.
Oh Lord.
Sorry.
And so, nobody knows he's there, right? And they're going about their day. There's a couple of times where he comes close, but something foils his plan, right?
Yeah.
And at this point, all he knows is that he's almost crazed with hunger.
Yeah. I almost imagine...
and there's, this steak sitting in front of him because she just oozes magic.
If he wasn't dry as a bone because he's pretty much undead or something, they'd be salivating over this prize.
Right. And of course, and she's just all he can think about because she's all he's seeing. He's not seeing a child. He's not seeing anything else. All he sees is this freaking ball of magic.
Right.
And he's following it around, like a cat follows a laser pointer because all he knows is that this could save him. And I think it's going to be something as simple as they leave Lee behind to pay a bill to cash them out while they go off and wait at a crosswalk. Eliot lets her go for 1 second to push the button, and when he turns around, he sees the Bodak behind her, put a hand on her shoulder, and then they disappear into the Vale.
Right.
And like that's really all it's gonna take to get her.
Now, I feel like she is much more powerful than him. However, I think his taking her by surprise, that maybe he can drain her enough to where he can control the situation.
I was gonna go a different direction with it.
Okay.
Okay, but we'll hash this out.
Okay.
So here was my thought. So first of all, Eliot turns, and all he sees is Shayla, like, blinking her big eyes up at him, innocently, and this fucking monster behind her, right? And next thing he knows, this thing reaches out one of its, like, undead hands, places it on her shoulder, and they both disappear. And Eliot is like, oh my god, you know? And then he's concerned about getting eaten by her uncle. And, like, all these nightmares are running through his head, and he starts freaking out and screaming for Lee. And all they can do is go back to the penthouse and dig through the books about the Bodak to try to figure out where it would live, right? And by the time they get back to the penthouse, Shayla's sitting there wondering where the hell they've been. Because she is more powerful than the Bodak, and even once it has taken her, all she needs to wait for is for it to step back out of the veil, and then she can nullify any ability it has.
Yeah. I mean, it's a pretty quick resolution to
It is,
an
but
issue.
now Shayla knows where it's hiding.
Oh, so you're saying it's still alive?
Yeah, I'm not saying that she has to kill it. I'm saying that as soon as it's back here, all she has to do is nullify its powers, and she can walk out the door. What's it going to do to her?
Well, okay. So what if it took her to Annalise? Like, not...
So that's the thing, is that we have a lot of information now that they could get from her. Either she knows where it lives and Lee can hunt it down and somehow find the connection to Annalise or Raina. Or she somehow saw Annalise or Raina involved somehow, and then the little dragon becomes the key to pulling the mask off of her.
Yeah, I'm just thinking, like, yeah, it's they've got their hideout or wherever they're using as a base of operations to handle this whole coup, right? And this dumb fuck took her there thinking, I'm going to feast, and then I'm going to get back to work, you know?
And he fucked everything up.
And, yeah, and she instead, in all her ridiculous amount of magic, just fucked up his entire plan, and
he's still starving and injured.
yeah, probably worse injured, you know?
Right.
So...
So yeah, I mean, I think that we have a lot of possibilities here, and it really doesn't even need to affect her at all. But it does fill some pieces into the puzzle for Lee and Eliot.
Yeah, I mean, it gives them a few clues. Okay. I think it's a little anticlimactic, but...
I guess, but it's not the climax of the story.
No, but I'm saying that... I mean, it builds a lot of tension. I do like the tension.
I mean, the thing is that she's a seriously powerful being.
Right, but what do you do to
Much more powerful than a Bodak.
How do you subdue seriously powerful beings by taking them by surprise, you know? So...
Which is how he got her.
Yeah, it's how he got her.
But
yeah.
I don't think he can keep her.
Not unless he drained her pretty bad.
He would have to do it very quickly.
Yeah.
So I don't know. What do you think? You think he should be able to injure her? Or do you think she gets away?
I definitely think he should be able to injure her, whether it's enough to do any...
I think that he can traumatize her at minimum.
Well, and that's another thing, is he's going to have a list of spells that are specifically
thing.
designed to paralyze people through mental trauma.
Sure, absolutely. And if his first instinct is to cause nightmares in her,
yeah,
yes, that's traumatizing. Her first instinct is going to be to nullify his power as soon as he does that to her.
Yeah, that's true. I'm not even sure it's an instinct. I think it just happens.
Right. So...
Right.
Regardless, yes, he can have that effect on her, but that still gives her the automatic response of nullifying his ability. It shuts off in a snap, and she can still get away.
Well, no, I don't think she just gets away, though. I think she's a little on the mean side, so she's going to do some damage to wherever she's at.
Okay.
You know? So...
Is she an ice dragon? A fire dragon? Did you specify?
I didn't know. I mean, she has ice blue eyes. That's all I was.
Yeah, I caught that, and I wasn't sure if you
And
were
the symbol,
implying.
the half moon symbol on her, or the crescent moon symbol on her forehead, glows an ice blue when her ability activates.
Okay.
But no, other than that, I didn't say what she is.
Maybe she traps him in an ice fortress thing. I don't know.
No, I don't know. It doesn't matter. I imagined that. I've never been a fan of the dragons that have all these weird breath attacks and everything like that. It's like dragons breathe fire, whatever. Maybe she has a blue flame. You know,
Oh, okay.
it's just super fucking hot, so it's blue. You know.
Yeah, I wasn't necessarily saying she breathes differently. I was just saying she can create ice.
Oh yeah, she's
And
probably
in
got a bunch of
cases-
magic spells and stuff
yeah,
like
it
that.
cases him into wherever he's hiding. But the bottom line is that if we let her walk out of her own power, I mean, if we don't, I don't know how Lee and Eliot find her. Considering they've now been hunting for the Bodak for chapters.
Right. Yeah, the only thing, like I said, the only thing I was going to give away was the idea that it used Annalise's car to get here
Right, but they don't even need to necessarily do that.
because it can teleport, so why the hell would it use the car?
Right, and once it's gotten her and she's gotten away, which she can fly,
Sure, yeah, true.
you know. So her
Which all
getting-
must be funny. That's how she does it. She gets away by flying away because they didn't leave the world. Yeah, I mean, they did to teleport or whatever.
Right.
But-
He took her between the veils to get her back to his place.
Yeah,
Or wherever.
and then she transforms into full dragon mode,
Right.
and then she's like, "I'm just gonna leave."
Look, what's he gonna do?
Right.
And especially, like, I think that maybe even in dragon form, their hide probably has some sort of like anti-magic, you know, or
Well,
it's
yeah,
too
and
thick
she's
to
covered
pierce.
in scales. That's
Yeah,
the thing,
like-
you know.
So really, once she's in dragon form, there's about jack shit he can do, and maybe at this point the Bodak's like, fuck, you know.
Right.
So
Yeah, and then that's what I'm saying. If she transformed into a dragon, right? If she just shapeshifted into her dragon form, whatever hideout they're at is fucked up. Like,
if she's full size,
yeah, she fucked that place up, man. And I mean, even yeah, I don't know. Maybe you're saying she's already at the penthouse by the time they get there.
if she flew
But
and they were walking,
but I was just thinking they watch her like literally fly from where she's at. You know what I'm saying? And back to the penthouse, and it's like, oh, and now they know where she was. You know,
I mean,
or she could always
To
just
some-
take them back there.
yeah, to some extent, but like that's the bottom line is she knows now where
Right.
they were.
Right.
Here's the thing: what if where the Bodak was is somehow connected to Reyna?
Like her apartment.
How do you blow up a dragon into an apartment?
What?
You're saying she takes her dragon?
Well, she'd destroy the fucking apartment.
She'd destroy the whole building. Yeah, I don't know. We'll have to figure that part out.
Well, that's why I'm glad you're writing this chapter.
Ugh. This is gonna suck.
Now, did you want to try and go back and forth with,
With Annalise,
or do you think it's enough just to do this?
I don't know. Do you think it's gonna be? I don't know that it's a full chapter. Do you think?
It depends on how much of this cat and mouse thing you do. You know, they're doing this, and the Bodak nearly has her, and then not. And then they're doing that, and then the Bodak nearly has her. Like, how much do you want to do that? How quickly does that get old?
That's
know.
the thing. Is I think that drawing that all out for an entire
I think
chapter,
max you can get away with it 3 times. And, you know, and on the
I
third
think-
time he has to succeed. So
Yeah, so I think we can flash back to Annalise a couple of times. And what we had discussed was having her. Okay, so first of all, if we do the mirror image of what you've just done with the Combine
yeah,
on the side of the Fae, what we're going to see is they're discussing options for war or peace.
right.
Now, Annalise obviously does not want peace. She's not looking for a place at the table.
She was to be a wartime president.
Right. Is she the Terminator?
Yeah, it was more Terminator than this Trumpinator.
Anyway, so she's not looking to be. She doesn't want a seat at the table. She wants to be the only one at the table.
Yeah.
So she's looking to rule. She thinks it's her rightful place as an heir, and she obviously can't say that yet. But right now, what we know is that the Combine sent a team of snipers to kill them all. And she's going to use that to fearmonger and try to push them towards war.
Right.
Because that gives her the resolution that she wants. When there is no Combine, there's no seat to bargain for, and she can simply take over.
Right. Yeah.
And so she kind of inserts herself. The way that Nigel kind of ended up being the voice for the people of the Combine. I think that Annalise is kind of going to insert herself and try to be the voice of the protests of the rebellion. And she's a familiar face. They've seen her before. They've seen Rowan before. So I think that they're going to start listening. I think that she is going to gather the support of the more volatile within the group. And as long as the sorcerers aren't communicating an option for fair representation, then the Fae know that the only option is to fight for it.
Right.
So right now, while the Combine is still working out the issues on their side, while the rebellion is still waiting for a response, we know that the Fae are going to assume that the elite attack, not the elite attack, the sniper attack.
The mercenaries?
Yes, thank you. That was their act of war.
Right, yeah.
You know?
Even though it was a failure.
Yes, but it was still an attack. An
yeah,
attack
oh,
is
definitely.
An attack.
Yeah, I mean, we'd consider that. America would consider a failed attack an act of war.
Any attack is an act of war. So, yes. So basically, she's going to throw herself into this position and kind of take on that same role. And I think that we can easily kind of snap back over to see that. And that, like maybe at the point when the little girl's taken and disappears into the veil and there's panic mode, then we cut away and leave that tension there while we go to Annalise and the rebellion and her putting herself into this leadership role.
I'm almost thinking if you do it 3 times, right? So if you have 2 near misses and a successful grab, right? Then maybe you start the story with the first one, right? They're out, it tries, it misses. Cut over to Annalise doing her work or charming people, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you have some of the tension and the, her inserting herself, and then you switch back over for the second near miss, and then you switch back over to, you know what I'm saying? Maybe it breaks up like that. I don't know. It's just a thought.
Yeah, maybe.
Because then, yeah, I mean, you've got 2 sides where you can tension build, I
don't know. 3 might even be too much, but we can probably bounce back and forth a couple of times because it's going to have to end with the dragon, I think. Like with her return home.
Yeah. Or they're in the middle of one of their arguments or whatever, for what we should do. Should it be all out war? Or should we give them some more time or whatever? And then out of nowhere in the back room, the dragon comes to full size, and kind of fucks up the whole, debate. And they're like, what the fuck?
Do you think that he took her back to the marketplace area?
Maybe. I don't, I'm saying could have been something like that. And it could be perceived as another attack, but then again, if they don't realize that was a dragon.
Yeah, but it's a dragon. They're not going to associate.
No, that's what I'm saying. If all they see is rubble and dust, if they have no idea a dragon just went full size on them, they could perceive it as like an explosive or something like that. You know what I'm saying? Really, what it was the dragon going to full size and flying the fuck away.
That's true.
They don't have to know what it was.
Right. I mean, they could see like blue flames and a pile of dust.
Right, yeah, for all they know, a C4 or some shit.
That's a possibility. And then Annalise is like, see?
Right. Oh, yeah, she could use it to her advantage, yeah.
Right.
So, yeah, definitely a thought. I mean, do what you like with it. I'm interested to see it either way, but...
Right, and so then basically we'll leave the Fae and Annalise with this
conundrum.
Not necessarily conundrum, but basically, hope for peace, plan for war.
Okay.
So,
but yeah, Annalise definitely wants the war.
Oh, yeah, she's not the one hoping for peace.
And then somewhere in there, you want her to have taken the messenger.
What?
Somewhere in all of that.
Oh, do you want the sorcerers to try to send message?
I think they would.
Okay.
I think it's some kind. It's probably not sorcerer himself. It's just some errand boy.
Sure, but we know that we mentioned that the sorcerers would try to at least set up a meeting.
Right.
Send a representative to discuss, kind of thing.
Yeah, well, at the very least, some kind of temporary treaty or something like that, or a ceasefire,
Right, and Annalise intercepts it.
Right. Yeah.
So that the Fae never get it.
Right.
Because that doesn't suit her purpose. Which leaves things exactly as it is. The Fae are getting agitated the longer they don't hear from the sorcerers.
Might be a good place for her to start building a network too, like now she adds people, because it's just her and.
Well, I think that she is arrogant enough to believe that she will maintain the support of this entire rebellion.
Right.
And the truth is that they're only with her as long as they think that her objectives align with theirs.
Right. I mean, she's an obvious warrior type,
Exactly.
So I think she would garner the respect of others who think they need a warrior,
Right, and they see her strength because it's physical strength.
Right. She's a physical, beast.
Right. So yeah, I think that they'll definitely look to her and see strength. And plus, she is partially royalty.
Right.
So I mean, she does have that kind of air about her. So yeah, I think they look to her and they see a leader and they see strength and they see, maybe that has an elegant way of saying, we'll fight for the things that we deserve, and they're jumping on board. And it won't be until, down the road that they really see what it's all about.
Yeah, there's all power grab.
Right. And then that's when they'll kind of, whoa.
Yeah, we've all had enough of power grabbing pieces of crap.
Right.
We understand.
Right. And I think that it's going to be a very climatic moment when she's ready to lead them into war, and they finally see it for what it is.
Right.
And she no longer has their support.
Yeah.
But for now, yeah, I think that'll work well. We'll have the dragon abduction. We'll have, the glimpse into what's going on in the rebellion side of things, and then we'll come back and see that the dragon easily got away, and suddenly Lee and Eliot have some answers that aren't good for Rena at all.
Right. Yeah, I can't wait to see how it all turns out.
Okay.
All right, we got anything else?
No, I think that's enough. Yeah, we'll figure it out.
All right, so tell everybody about this show. Get us as many listeners as possible. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter at the Dark Stormy K1, on Facebook, on Reddit at r/Dark and Stormy Nights. You can discuss the show with us there. You can listen to the show anywhere where podcasts can be found, and we are on YouTube. So please follow, please like, subscribe, comment, rate, whatever. And we'll see you next time. Thanks.
Bye.